Hello everyone, I'm Lady AFK and welcome back to Extra Modded New Vegas Dead Money. In this episode we are going to rescue Christine. Or acquire Christine. Search for Christine in the clinic and the medical district. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Set behavior first floor patrol. Set behavior second floor patrol.
Picking up an emitter signature. Watch for security holograms. Dangerous. Don't shoot them. Attacking them is useless.
So, like I said, this is third try to recording this. The first try I recorded for like 6 hours. From like, I don't know, 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. Ooh, Stimpack. Vending machine code, good. Yeah. And it was all messed up, like you couldn't see anything. Let's back outside. So, I think the audio is a little off, but at least you can hear me and you can see what's happening. Admitted 3 workers from Puesta del Sol switching station, exposed to some identified airborne toxin from the ventilation system, caused severe lung and tissue damage. Inhalation isn't the problem, it's absorbed through the skin. Researching its effect, the gas, whatever it is, may be building up in the vents beneath the town. Ask foreman to look into the source before government inspectors do. Chemical suits arrived today. They're bulky, hard to talk and move in. It was difficult to unlock the clasp once in place. Had to get one of the staff to help me out of it. I told the construction crew keep the suits ready while working in the switching station and to be careful with them. We only have a limited number. I asked Sinclair to order more in the event of a leak in the villa and prepared cost estimates for another gas leak to support my case. Didn't need to. He agreed to the request immediately, then asked if he could see the workers and make sure they were all right. Jar of cloud residue added. I don't know what that does for us. Oh, assassin suit. That's exciting. How do we look? Nice. I like it. I don't think we need a tire iron.
Oh, I'm knackered. You know, I had the worst night's sleep last night. When we're camped out, some prick comes along, shakes me, wakes me up.
What are you hiding in the basement? Looks like a bunch of nothing. Disengage main power. Auto dock emergency backup engaged. Oh, security holograms emergency backups engaged, but speakers are off. So at least I don't have to worry about my head blowing up. Malfunctioning auto dock. Oh, come on. Oh. The woman before you looks disoriented, pained. She blinks a few times and winces as if the act of blinking hurts. Are you alright? She looks at you, blinks again, and opens her mouth, but nothing comes out. She touches her throat, then traces the scar beneath the chin, and her eyes widen in alarm. Did somebody cut your vocal cords? She looks shaken. As she glances at the autodoc, she recoils, and her mouth opens, but again, nothing comes out. She looks back at you, and her hands clench into fists. Her eyes narrow, and she takes a step back, studying you. This isn't what it looks like. The woman opens her mouth again, winces, then frowns and drags a finger across her throat. Frowning, she touches her throat again gently, then her hand brushes her collar, then her frown deepens. Her eyes narrow as she traces the edge of the collar until she finds the lock. She begins to press it with her fingers. Don't do that. She looks surprised, then notices your collar and raises an eyebrow. Let's just say we're in this together. She frowns, narrows her eyes, and slowly shakes her head. We need to cooperate if we're going to get out of here. She shakes her head again and draws a line in the air between the two of you. Look, together we can get out of this. She shakes her head once, then crosses her arms. Look, I'm not trying to order you, but your life is tied to mine. What exactly is wrong? Don't you want out of here? She frowns, glances at the collar, looks back at you. She makes a circle with her hands, puts her hand over her eyes. She nods at you, then lowers her hands from her eyes, shakes her head. She draws a slow line between you. You're looking for something else. Fine, I can help. She studies you again, then her expression softens slightly. She shakes her head slowly and gives a silent sigh. She nods at you, then raises an eyebrow and nods at the door. Alright, come with me. Christine nods and steps slightly behind you, waiting. Okay. Christine has given you the signal interference perk. This perk grants you a short period of time near a speaker before your bomb collar starts to activate, as well as increasing the amount of time before your bomb collar detonates by 50%. Okay, so she was trapped in an autodoc. And it looks like it sliced her up a lot. Those facial scars weren't done by the autodoc. The throat scar was. She nods slowly, then puts her hand in front of her throat, closes it slowly, and points at you. I can't restore your voice. We'd need a real autodoc to do that. She shivers slightly, then shakes her head. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back in one either. I don't understand why they shaved you bald. Christine looks blankly at you, then touches her head, smiles, then shakes her head. So you got your own hair off? She waves her hand, then shakes her head. She then nods in the direction of the casino. No, wait, I want to hear this. You were bald before? She nods with an exasperated look, then makes a circle with her hands, repeat it twice more, then raises her hands, waves them like wings. She puts both hands in front of her, then makes a motion with her hands as if writing something. Wait, that's a Brotherhood of Steel symbol, right? You're a scribe? She nods, looks impressed. How the hell did you get out here? She shrugs. She points to you and shrugs. Were you looking for something? She shakes her head, makes a motion of two fingers walking. Were you looking for someone? She nods and raises a finger. A man? She nods. She makes a motion with her hands around her chin, drawing it down, then raises her hands and clenches them at the sky. An angry, bearded man? She points at your Pip-Boy. The man on the Pip-Boy holotape, Elijah. She nods, looks concerned, taps the side of her head, and expands her hands. Someone smart? She nods and circles her ear, and nuts. She nods and frowns. Sounds like it's pretty important to you to find this person. She frowns, raises two fingers, has them walk together. Then she looks down on the two fingers and her face becomes angry. Then she chops her hand down and draws the two fingers apart. One of the fingers she points at herself. He cut you off from someone. She nods. Family? Husband? She frowns, shakes her head, even more so at the husband. Wife? She shakes her head but rolls it to the side. Oh, girlfriend. She hesitates and waves her hand. So you were more than girlfriends, lovers. She nods at you and looks a little surprised. Give me a little credit. She raises an eyebrow and looks at you. I understand how important a loved one can be. She nods slowly, studying you. She seems to be gauging you again. She makes a slow circle motion after a moment, taps her wrist. Other questions? She's listening. Can't you communicate some other way? Can you write? Christine frowns, then pauses and traces one of the scars on her head with her finger. She then makes a motion as if picking up a pencil, tries to write, then shakes her head. So, brain damage, or... She shakes her head, then stops as if thinking. She pauses and draws a jagged symbol like electricity in the air, then puts on an odd, staring face. She keeps a blank face for a second, then slowly blinks, looks around. She looks at her hands, shakes them, then lets them go limp. That's a specific form of brain surgery using electrodes, pre-war. She nods slowly, then makes the motion of typing and drawing X's and lines in the air, then gives a thumbs up. You can still do numbers and calculations. She nods. Do you know what these machines around the villa are? Christine shakes her head, then pauses, makes a small circle with her thumb and forefinger. She points at you and makes the motion of putting something in her palm. Here's a Sierra Madre chip. I'll need that back. She examines the chip for a second, raises it to her eye, and then turns it to the side, gauging its diameter and width. She runs her finger over the surface slowly, checking the engraving. She then tosses the chip back to you. She then pretends to look around, sees something on the floor, then pretends to pin down and pick it up. She then looks at you and nods. You can scrounge more somehow? She smiles and nods. She stands still for a second, then stops, slowly makes the motion of bending down and scooping something up. She then holds the imaginary object in her hand, as if heavy, and puts it in front of her, as if on a table. She then hefts what looks like a small box and pours it on top of the object, looks at it, then reaches down and holds up a small O. You can make more of those at a workbench with the right materials. She smiles and nods. She points at your Pip-Boy, makes a motion of opening it up and removing something from it. She then raises her hand and makes a motion of smashing it and holding up the remains. A fission battery and scrap metal. She nods impressed. She points at you, then her, and makes a circle. Can you teach me how to do it? She nods and makes a series of hand motions to represent weight and amounts, enough so you think you could do it on your own. Christina's taught you the coin operator perk, allowing you to make Sierra Madre chips, metal slugs, at workbenches using fission batteries and scrap metal. Okay. She looks exasperated and waves her hand in a circle in front of her. How did you end up in the auto dock? She moves her finger in a circle, frowns, and drags her hand down over her eyes. She raises them again. Did you get gas like I did? She nods, she raises an eyebrow, points at you, and makes a circle, and points at your feet. You want to know how I got here? She repeats the circling motion again. This time she lowers her hand and circles her finger inward until she's pointing the stop at you. Still pointing at the ground between the two of you, she raises an eyebrow. Raise an eyebrow back. Almost against her will, she smiles. After a moment, the smile fades and she points to the ground again. Followed a radio signal here, a woman's voice. She waits. After a second, she raises her eyebrow again. I couldn't even tell you why. I just did. She looks at you a second, and then She looks at you for a second, studying you, then nods. She points at you, then points at the casino, then she slowly shakes her head. Then she points in the direction of something. Me, what about you? She slowly shakes her head, then points to the ground. You're not going to leave. She frowns, glances in the direction of the casino, then the exit, then back in the direction of the casino. She shrugs, without strength of conviction. She isn't looking at you when she does. If I could leave, I would. She looks at you for a moment, glances at your collar, shrugs. She then lightly grabs her neck with both hands, holds it for a moment. Then her hands fall away. She looks at you, looks at the exit, and nods. Jeez. A lot of talking. Okay, let's get out of here. I guess we could patrol the Second floor. I broke the emitter, so... Oh, wait. Oh, that was back outside. So, if I send him to the first floor, he shouldn't be anywhere. This one? Yeah. First floor patrol. Why is... Patrolling the first floor, good. Christine stops, glances at the speaker, then glances at your caller, frowning. It's a decayed speaker. If we stay too long near one, it'll go off. She taps the collar, then opens and closes her hand really fast. She taps the collar, then opens her hands really fast. Again. She points at your Pip-Boy, her collar, and then your collar. After a second, she opens or closes her hands slower. You can dampen the signal somehow. She's about to nod and she stops, points at herself, and shakes head. She points at your collar, then hers, and nods at your Pip-Boy. She makes a triangle motion and the same slow pulse before with her fingers. Does that work with any other collar? She frowns, slowly shakes her head, and opens her mouth, then makes the motion of tuning a dial, then points. It's just your frequency. She nods once, then again, points at the two of you, then the Pip-Boy. But only between us. She nods and motions for you to go ahead. So when she's with us, we have longer to get to the radios before they blow us up. That's what all that was. Appointment calendar. Miss Keys showed up today. Sam Sinclair, escorted by Mr. Domino. He explained to me Miss Keys had developed a throat infection and asked if the auto doc could help. I asked about the Sierra Madre's auto doc. He said he didn't want to alarm Sinclair. Ran some tests. Miss Keys' voice is fine. Her loss of voice was more listlessness, symptomatic of excessive Medex usage. When I tried to speak to her about it, Mr. Domino intervened. I warned them too much of the chem could render a subject comatose, and Domino laughed. I lost my temper, and he said they'd return another time when I was in better spirits. I despise that man. Domino stopped by to ask about the test results and Vera's voice. He seemed concerned she would lose her voice for the gala event. I told him if Miss Keys was concerned, she should see me, and I would only disclose any medical information to her. I told him the auto docs were more than capable of healing Miss Keys' voice if she developed any throat infection, and we could even operate if need be if she tore her larynx. She seemed satisfied by the news. He seemed satisfied by the news, apologized, amazingly enough, and left a bottle of wine as a token of what's left. Oh my gosh. As a token of his appreciation. I told him I felt it was inappropriate. He insisted. I dumped it in the trash. Anything else on this floor? I feel like since there's so limited resources that I need to find every little thing. Codes for the public dispensers arrived today. Sinclair instructed us in their use in case of emergency. You should be able to get stems and other treatments from machines. Sinclair indicated it could dispense more based on the nature of the medical emergency or subject's condition. Among the codes, he kept asking if we could make sure that the code for Medex was backed up. He must have said it 3 times. I don't think he realized it. Must be stress. Made a backup the code on this terminal just in case. So now we can get Medex. Clinic basement key. Didn't we already go to the basement?
Slide this back. See what's going on in. Oh! 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 Ow! My finger.
Great
Ow.
paperweight. Okay. Nothing else here. So the second floor? Yeah. And we came in, no. Came in over here. Nope. Knew that wasn't right. What is that? What is that? It's Russell? Russell? What is wrong with you? Why is he... Why is you invisible, Russell? Interesting. Anyway. Invisible Russell aside, let's get out of here. I don't remember. Oh, this is... I don't... That's the second floor. That's what was confusing me earlier. Whatever. Oh, I was not expecting that. Okay. That'll do it for episode 2. I will see you in episode 3. Till next time. Thanks for joining me.